Asian Network. 3.
Okay, so if you are after a thrilling new series to watch, which Harpz, I'm pretty sure you are always, right?
Yeah, always.
Well, Amazon Prime may have got you sorted because they've just rebooted the film Hanna into a series which you can watch now. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you remember the 2011 movie starring Saoirse Ronan and Eric Bana, the story basically follows a young girl who's been raised by her father to be a ninja-like assassin. And she lives in the woods and is on the run from a relentless CIA agent, trying to find out exactly who she is and how she'll fit into the world that she lives in and grows up in. So it's not your average coming-of-age story, but this certainly looks to be something altogether different. And if you need a little bit of action and adventure in your life, then without actually having to leave your sofa, season 1 of Hanna is available on Amazon Prime right now.
Like it.
2.
Okay, Missing Link is the animated story of Mr. Link, a Bigfoot creature who is 8 feet tall, covered in fur, and living on his own in the woods. He writes to the fearless explorer Sir Lionel Frost to help him find his long-lost relatives in the Himalayas and go on an adventure to discover his true place in the world.
Is this going to be just as much fun for like adults and not just the children?
Do you know what? I actually think it's going to be more fun for adults.
Yes! That's what I like.
It is beautifully made, it's charmingly funny, and it has an amazing voice cast in this as well. So Hugh Jackman is Sir Lionel Frost. We've got Zach Galifianakis, who is Mr. Link, and a whole host of other famous names are also voicing various characters. So from Stephen Fry through to Emma Thompson and Zoe Saldana too. And you might not quite recognise Hugh Jackman in this role at first, because it did take me a little while to kind of realise that who he was, because he's got this incredible posh English clipped accent, which you probably just heard from the clip.
Yeah.
And it works really well. And it's actually quite a fun game to try and work out who all the voices are in this movie, because it actually goes far beyond the ones that I've just mentioned.
Well, it doesn't actually look overly like the type of, Pixar DreamWorks kind of animation. But, like I've seen before. Is this a different kind of animation film?
Yeah, I mean, now sometimes I think animated movies can be so much more magical when they're in stop motion. Now, what that is where each frame is kind of shot individually and all of the little pieces are being moved by hand. And Missing Link is such a great example of this. The studio that made this is called Laika, and they have made some amazing movies. So you might recognise Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings, Paranorman back in 2012 as well. And what they really do incredibly well is create these breathtaking landscapes and also really focus on the minute details. So keep a close eye on everything from the costumes through to the mannerisms of the characters. When I realised it was Hugh Jackman and then I suddenly looked at the little animation of him, I was like, that is so Hugh Jackman.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's really, really great fun, this movie. It's quite magical.
Yeah. All right, well, what are we rating this, Bex?
Do you know what? Missing Link should not be missing anymore. You should go to the cinema. You should go and watch it. It's so much fun. 4 stars.
4 stars. Like what you did there. All right, hold tight. 1 is on the way.
1.
Okay, the big movie of the week is Shazam. Shazam. A brand new DC superhero movie which is all about a 14-year-old boy who gets gifted some amazing powers and can turn into the ultimate superhero version of himself. It's very different to other DC movies that you might recognise. It's not as brooding and serious as Batman vs Superman. It's also not set in a lavish CGI underwater fantasyland like Aquaman. What it is a film very similar to the premise of the Tom Hanks classic movie Big, but with superheroes and a whole lot of fun.
This does sound like a whole lot of fun. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to be a kid and a superhero at the same time?
I know, it's such a cool concept. And I have to say, I fell for this movie hook, line and sinker. It was funny. I found it incredibly nostalgic. It had great effects. And the older superhero version of 14-year-old Billy Batson is played brilliantly by Zachary Levi, who you may recognise from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but also Chuck as well. I mean, he's got the coolest job ever. He basically has to play a big kid who is learning to use all of his superhero powers, from flying through to his super strength and so much more. Plus, I think this is a huge jump for Zachary from TV roles, which we obviously recognise him from. He's not only stepped into movies into a big way, but who doesn't want to play a superhero?
Exactly.
Well, it's not as easy as you may think, because Shazam is actually described as having a ripped, god-like body. So that's a little bit intimidating. I mean, your average gym session might not cut it. So I asked Zachary exactly what it took to prepare for this rather intimidating role.
Well, how I started was I just literally jumped into going to the gym 6 days a week and eating 3,500 to 4,000 calories a day. And I think I put on about 24 pounds in the first 2 months, and then would carve that down, and then would build more, and then carve that down, and that's been going for the last year and a half, and I have no intention of ever stopping it. I feel great. I'm so grateful that I got paid to get into the best shape of my life. And now that transformation has just afforded me so much happiness because of it, and feeling healthy and feeling strong at 38 years of age.
Well, that's a bit of motivation for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, and he looks good.
I bet. I mean, that is amazing. And I love that he's actually going to carry on with his workout regime as well. Like, that's amazing.
I know. And like I say, he looks amazing for it. And it goes to show that you just can't rock up onto set and become a superhero. It takes a lot of work, but it definitely paid off for him. So for me, this movie was fun from start to finish. It's got action, fab effects. It's got a real nostalgic feel to it. It's got great humor, which really comes from the brilliant younger actors in this movie as well. And it's also got a fantastic villain in Mark Strong too. I think this is the DC movie loads of people have been waiting for. So it balances everything out really well. It makes for a really solid and enjoyable superhero movie. And when there are so many out there at the moment, it's quite tough to bring something new to the table, but it does it so well.
What are we rating this?
I'm going to give this 4 stars as well.
Lovely jubbly.
Asian Network.